All right, welcome in everyone. It's time for the deep dive. And today, well, we've got a Premier League matchup that's got everyone buzzing. Arsenal versus Chelsea.
Yeah, at the Emirates.
At the Emirates, exactly right. Coming up on Sunday, March the 16th, 2025.
Big game.
2:00 p.m. GMT kickoff. Big one. Massive one, actually. We've been poring over the details, trying to, really unpack what could happen. Everything from their recent form, the players, tactics, even the data's got something to say about this one. But as always, we're going to cut through the noise, give you the need-to-know stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think for the people who really follow this closely, our goal is to provide a really clear and concise understanding of kind of the key storylines and then how this game might play out. We've looked into team news, performances. We're talking the last 7 matches for both these sides, the formations, what we think they're going to do tactically.
Right.
We've even got a predictive model, crunched the numbers on everything from win probabilities to expected goals and some betting insights, if that's your thing. So yeah, no need to spend hours digging through stuff. We've done that for you.
Okay, so let's set the scene a little bit. Emirates Stadium in London.
Arsenal's home turf.
Arsenal's home turf.
Okay.
Around 60,704 capacity. And we know just from experience that home support can be a real X factor.
Oh, yeah?
So Arsenal will be looking to use that.
100%. I mean, it can be electric at the Emirates, as you know. And for Arsenal, it's really about turning that energy into a tangible advantage on the pitch.
For sure, for sure. Now let's talk about Arsenal, their game, what they bring to the table.
Yes.
The attack this season has been really something. I mean, really dangerous.
Attacking verve, I've heard people say.
Yeah, attacking verve, exactly. Right. You see it in Saka, you see it in Martinelli, that pace and precision.
Out wide.
Out wide, yeah. But we're hearing that there's been a couple of minor knocks, minor fitness concerns, Saka, maybe a bit of a hamstring thing.
Right.
Martinelli missing a training session or two. So what's your take on that?
Well, I think, while that attacking quality is undeniable, those question marks, particularly for players like Saka and Martinelli, will force Arsenal really to consider how it impacts their game plan. Their ability to beat a man and create space out wide is so crucial to how they stretch defenses. If they're not 100%, it might mean a little bit of a tweak to how they look to break down Chelsea, maybe rely a little bit more centrally.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. But even if there are, some slight worries there, they still got Ødegaard in the middle pulling the strings.
Oh, yeah.
And his creativity, it seems like, that's the engine for so much their good attacking play.
100%. He is so pivotal for Arsenal. Ødegaard links everything up, dictates the tempo, and he's got that vision to unlock defenses.
Yeah.
Even really good ones. For you guys watching at home, keep an eye on how much space and time he gets on the ball.
Yeah.
That would be a huge indicator of how their attack's functioning overall.
All right, so let's look at their form recently. Over the last 7 games, pretty good run.
Yeah, they've been doing well.
I mean, 4 wins, a couple of draws, and only 1 loss, averaging nearly 2 goals a game, conceding only about 1. And at home, even better, 4 wins out of the last 6 at the Emirates. That sets you up pretty well, doesn't it? Going into a match as big as this.
I think so, yeah. That consistency, particularly at home, that's a big psychological boost for Arsenal. It shows they're confident at the Emirates.
Yeah.
And that puts pressure on Chelsea to come up with a plan to disrupt that.
Absolutely. Now, tactically, how do we think Arsenal are going to approach this? Analysis suggests, we're probably looking at a 4-2-3-1 or maybe a 4-3-3.
Yeah.
Seems like the idea is to win that midfield battle and then really exploit those wingers.
Those dangerous wingers.
Yeah, the pace, the skill. So high pressing to win the ball back high up the pitch, dominating possession, dictating the tempo, and then boom, those quick transitions into attack. Is that about right? For someone watching this, what should they be looking for?
Yeah, I think that's spot on. Arsenal are going to want to impose their style on Chelsea.
Yeah.
Aim to suffocate them in midfield, force turnovers in dangerous areas. And that high pressing, that's their front players actively trying to win the ball back in Chelsea's defensive third. When they have it, they're going to try and control the tempo, create overloads in wide areas to give, Saka and Martinelli, if they're fit, those one-on-one opportunities. Watch how quickly Arsenal closed down Chelsea when they lose possession.
Yeah.
That's going to be key.
Gotcha. Okay, let's flip it around, talk about Chelsea. This is a big test for them on the road, a real away day challenge. But they're known for being tactically adaptable, you know.
Flexible.
And they can hit you on the break.
Counterattack.
Counterattack, yeah. So they'll have a plan.
They'll be prepared. You know, for Chelsea, going to the Emirates is a different beast.
Yeah.
You know, they'll need to be really well organized defensively.
Yeah.
And incredibly disciplined. You know, the opportunities are going to come from absorbing that pressure and then hitting quickly.
Yeah.
How they set up tactically is going to be absolutely vital in stifling those attacking threats while also creating their own chances.
Right. So their squad's an interesting mix. You know, you've got the experienced guys and then some really exciting young talent.
Yeah.
But there's been a few setbacks recently. Havertz, Jesus, maybe suspensions, maybe not fully fit.
Right.
That's got to factor into their plans.
100%. It's a big concern.
Yeah.
You know, Havertz and Jesus potentially not at their best or not even available.
Yeah.
That's a lot of firepower missing. Other players are going to have to step up and deliver in those key moments. Might even force them to rethink how they attack.
Right.
You know, maybe rely on different players.
Okay. But they've still got players like Mount, you know, incredible vision, Reece James, energy, quality out wide.
Yeah.
They seem like they're going to be vital to that counterattacking game.
Without a doubt. I mean, Mount's ability to find those killer passes and unlock defenses, combined with James's pace and crossing from the flanks, that's going to be key for Chelsea. They'll be looking to exploit those gaps when Arsenal push forward, and those two will be at the heart of it.
Right. Now, Chelsea's form away from home, well, it's a little bit more up and down compared to Arsenal's home record.
Yeah, a bit more inconsistent.
Inconsistent, yeah, that's the word. 3 wins, a couple of draws, 2 losses in their last 7 on the road, scoring about 1.5 goals a game away from home, but conceding slightly more, like 1.2. And there's this talk about them not being quite as good when they're not at Stamford Bridge.
Right.
Which raises questions about how they handle the pressure, the atmosphere at the Emirates.
Well, it's a valid point. You know, that inconsistency on the road will be a worry for them. To get a result in a place like the Emirates, you need to be focused. You need to be solid defensively for the full 90.
Yeah.
And that slight increase in goals conceded away from home, it suggests a vulnerability that Arsenal will try to exploit. Chelsea got to be more adaptable, more resilient in a hostile environment.
For sure. So tactically for Chelsea, what are we thinking? Information suggests a 3-4-3 system. Emphasis on those wingbacks. Got to be agile, effective at both ends. Up and down.
Up and down, yeah. And then bang. Quick transitions into those counterattacks.
Absorb the pressure, break with pace. Exactly.
So soak it up, then hit them. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it does. That 3-4-3 gives Chelsea that solid base. The 3 center backs provide cover. The wing backs, they become absolutely crucial, providing width going forward, getting back to defend.
Yeah.
They'll be aiming to win the ball back in midfield and then release those forwards quickly.
Yeah.
To run at Arsenal's defense before they can get set.
All right. So that sets up what could be a really interesting battle in the midfield. Ødegaard, that creative hub for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And then Chelsea's midfield, whoever they go with. Yeah. That feels like a real key area, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. You know, it could dictate the entire flow of the game.
Yeah.
You know, Ødegaard's ability to find space, to create up against Chelsea's structure and discipline, you know, their ability to close him down.
It's a classic kind of tactical battle.
Yeah.
You know, watch how much time Ødegaard gets. If Chelsea can nullify him, they've got a real chance.
Yeah.
But if Arsenal can win those midfield battles, well, they can control the game.
Right. All right, let's dig into the data a little bit, see what the numbers have to say.
Right.
Our predictive model's been working overtime on this one. And it gives Arsenal the edge in terms of the probability of winning. We're looking at around 38 to 40% with the decimal odds, if that's something you look at, in the region of 2.50 to 2.63. A draw is the next most likely outcome, 32 to 33%.
Right.
Odds there around 3.00 to 3.13. And then Chelsea winning, well, that's seen as the least probable, around 27 to 30%, with odds of 3.33 to 3.7. So slight lean towards Arsenal, but not a runaway by any means. What do you think about those probabilities?
Well, I think those probabilities line up with the fact that Arsenal were at home and their form's been a bit better recently.
Yeah.
But those margins aren't huge. And that really highlights just how unpredictable football can be, especially a derby like this.
For sure.
You know, and Chelsea's ability on the counterattack is dangerous. The model will have taken that into account.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Now, looking deeper into the data, the defensive and offensive metrics, interesting point here. Chelsea actually have a slightly higher chance of keeping a clean sheet, around 40% compared to Arsenal's 30%.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the thinking there might be that Chelsea, potentially more cautious, more defensively focused, might be harder to break down, even though Arsenal, we know they attack.
They do.
Then on the other side of that, Arsenal have a lower probability of not scoring at all, around 10% compared to Chelsea's 20%.
Right.
So they're more consistent at finding the back of the net.
Makes sense.
And when you look at average goals scored and conceded, Arsenal's numbers are a bit better. Anything stand out to you there?
Well, I think what's really interesting is that while the overall win probability favors Arsenal, that clean sheet probability you mentioned, it suggests that the model's anticipating a tight game.
Yeah.
Where Chelsea's defense might hold firm.
Okay.
It's a potential clash of styles.
Yeah.
Arsenal's attack versus Chelsea's resilience.
Right.
And that Arsenal are less likely to blank, to not score at all. That just reinforces their attacking threat. Even if Chelsea might have a slightly better chance of keeping them out completely, it points towards a game where Arsenal will create chances, but Chelsea might limit the really clear-cut ones.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's talk about double chance and over-under markets.
Yeah.
So the data says the probability of Arsenal winning or drawing is pretty high, around 73%.
Right.
Odds there about 1.35.
Yeah.
Chelsea winning or drawing, that's also pretty decent, 67%. Odds around 1.49. And in terms of goals, total goals in the match, under 2.5 goals is favored by the model.
Okay.
55% probability.
Right.
Odds around 1.82, over 2.5 goals at 45%, odds of 2.22. So leaning towards a lower scoring affair, potentially. What does that tell you about the kind of game we might see?
Well, I think those figures really emphasize the expectation of a close match.
Yeah.
Maybe even a cagey one.
Yeah.
Those high probabilities for both double chance options.
Yeah.
It suggests neither team is a clear favorite to win outright.
Yeah.
And that under 2.5 goals, it aligns with the potential for those cautious tactical approaches.
Yeah.
Particularly in a derby like this, it might mean we don't see a lot of open attacking football from both sides at the same time.
Okay. And finally, let's look at those most likely score lines.
Right.
The model's got a few ideas here. Right at the top of the list, 1-1 draw.
Okay.
25% probability, odds of 4.0. Then we got a 2-1 win for Arsenal at about 20%, odds of 5.0. And then a 2-0 Arsenal win at 15%, odds of 6.67. So even the most probable outcomes, they suggest a tight one.
Yeah, that 1-1 being top of the list really underlines the fact that the model sees these two sides as pretty evenly matched.
Yeah.
Despite that slight advantage it gives to Arsenal overall. And the other scorelines back that up. Close games, not a lot of goals.
Okay. Now, we're not in the business of giving betting advice, but the analysis does offer some interesting points. It suggests an Arsenal win might be worth a look.
Okay.
Home advantage, momentum, odds around that 2.50, 2.63 mark. Also indicates both teams scoring is a real possibility. Odds there around 1.80.
Right.
Makes sense with all the attacking talent. A safer bet, maybe the double chance, Arsenal winning or drawing, odds of 1.35. And if you think it's going to be tight and low scoring, under 2.5 goals at 1.82. What's your take on all that?
Well, just to be clear, these are just analytical observations from the data.
Sure.
That Arsenal win suggestion, it's based on their home form, their strength at the Emirates. Both teams scoring, well, that reflects the attacking players, the quality in both squads. Yeah. Even with the potential absences, double chance on Arsenal, that's a bit more security.
Right.
Covers two outcomes.
Makes sense.
And that under 2.5 goals, that aligns with the possibility of a more tactical, a less open game.
Okay. There's even a couple of kind of more, I guess, adventurous possibilities highlighted.
Yeah.
An aggressive parlay, as they call it, that combines an Arsenal win with under 2.5 goals. Odds there around 3.50. So that's Arsenal winning a tight, low-scoring game. And then there's a conservative parlay that combines the double chance Arsenal win or draw with both teams scoring, odds around 2.2.
Right.
So trying to balance that Arsenal result with the potential for goals.
Yeah, I mean, those parlays offer different levels of risk and reward.
Sure.
The more aggressive one, well, you need two specific things to happen. Hence the higher odds. The conservative one, that's a bit more security, combining a likely outcome, Arsenal not losing with the expectation of goals at both ends.
Yeah.
Which seems plausible given the attacking players on show.
All right, so as we wrap this up, looks like we've got a really intriguing match on our hands. Arsenal will be looking to use that home advantage, their attacking strength.
Yeah.
But those injuries, can't ignore them.
No.
Chelsea, well, their away forms have been a bit patchy, but they're tactically smart. They can counterattack. The data suggests a close game.
Yeah.
Slight edge to Arsenal, but probably not a goal fest.
I agree. You know, the key takeaways here are Arsenal's form at the Emirates.
Yeah.
Their intent to attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's balanced by Chelsea's, defensive ability.
Right.
And their threat on the break. It's probably going to be a tight one.
Yeah.
And those individual moments, maybe a mistake that could decide it.
And that leads us to a final thought, something for you guys to chew on. Given all this tactical stuff, Chelsea's ability to absorb pressure and then hit you quickly, could this whole match come down to as the single moment of brilliance that just defies the data?
Yeah.
Or maybe a howler at the back at just the wrong time? And what about the mental side of things, the momentum? How much does that play into it? Stuff that's hard to quantify, It's a reminder that while the numbers are useful, they don't always tell the whole story.
Yeah, that's the beauty of football, right?
Yeah.
The data gives you a framework to understand the game, but the human element, the unpredictable, that can often lead to things that numbers just don't see coming. It's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Absolutely.
At the Emirates. Can't wait for this one. All right, that's it for the deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, everyone.